The evening sky was painted in shades of fading gold as the city lights began to flicker alive. Inside a sleek black limousine parked beside a busy cafe, Ethan Cole, a man whose name commanded respect across boardrooms and business headlines, sat alone. He was a millionaire CEO, known for his brilliance, feared for his coldness, and pitied by none, for nobody knew his pain. His world was filled with polished marble floors, crystal chandeliers, and empty echoes. His wife had died years ago, leaving him with an empire, but without warmth. Every morning, he dressed in perfection, and every night, he returned to silence. That evening, he had stopped by the cafe not for a meeting, but out of habit. It was the place he used to come with his late wife, where she'd laugh over burnt coffee and tease him for being too serious. He hadn't smiled that way in years. As he stared blankly out the window, watching people rush by, a small knock startled him. He turned his head, and froze. Standing there in the drizzle was a little girl, maybe 6 years old, holding a worn-out teddy bear. Her clothes were slightly torn, her shoes too big for her tiny feet. Her big brown eyes shimmered with both fear and hope. Ethan rolled down the window slightly. "Yes?" he asked, his voice calm but curious. The little girl took a shaky breath, her small hand clutching a crumpled $50 bill. "Mister," she said softly, "please don't be mad, I just need a dad for one day." For a moment, Ethan thought he'd misheard her. "What?" She held the bill closer, her fingers trembling. "It's all I have. My mommy says daddies don't come back, but tomorrow's my school's father-daughter day. Everyone's bringing their dads. I don't want to be the only one without one again." Her voice cracked at the last word, and Ethan felt something stir in his chest, something he hadn't felt in years. He opened the door slowly and knelt beside her. "Where's your mom, sweetheart?" "She's at work," the little girl replied. "She cleans offices at night. I told her I'd walk home before it got dark." She looked down, ashamed. "But I saw you sitting here and thought, maybe you could help." Ethan didn't answer right away. His throat felt tight. For all his billions, all his power, no one had ever asked him for something so simple, and so heartbreaking. After a long pause, he said quietly, "You don't have to pay me anything." The little girl blinked. "Really?" He smiled, a faint, almost forgotten expression. "Really, I'd be honored to be your dad for a day." The next morning, Ethan's limousine pulled up outside Riverdale Elementary School. Inside, little Lila sat beside him, beaming in a neatly pressed dress he had bought her that morning. She clutched his hand tightly, proud and nervous. When they walked in together, whispers filled the hallway. "Is that her dad? He looks so rich. Wow, lucky girl." Lila didn't care what anyone said. For the first time, she wasn't alone. During the school's activities, Ethan watched as she ran, laughed, and drew pictures of her dad and her. Every time she called him daddy, something inside him softened further. He pushed her on the swing, helped her paint, even joined the silly paper hat competition. When the teacher asked the kids to share something about their fathers, Lila stood up proudly. "My daddy is brave and kind," she said, glancing at Ethan. "He makes people smile even when they're sad." Ethan looked away quickly, pretending to wipe something from his eye. After school, he walked her home. Her home turned out to be a small apartment above a laundromat, walls cracked, curtains faded, but filled with warmth. Her mother opened the door, exhausted, her janitor's uniform still on. When she saw Ethan standing there holding her daughter's hand, she froze. "Sir, Mr. Cole," she stammered. You're the Ethan Cole." Ethan blinked. "Do I know you?" Her voice trembled. "I used to work in your building. You fired me last year, when I missed a shift." He remembered. A woman who had begged for an extension after missing work because her daughter had been sick. He'd turned her away, saying, "Business doesn't stop for emotions." Now she stood before him again, her eyes tired but proud. "Thank you for doing this for her," she whispered. She hasn't smiled like that in a long time. Ethan's heart sank. Shame washed over him like a wave. He knelt beside Lila again. "Hey, princess," he said softly, "can I come visit you again sometime?" Her eyes lit up. "You promise?" "I promise." Weeks passed. Ethan visited often, sometimes bringing groceries, sometimes toys, but most of all, time. Slowly, laughter returned to his life. Lila became the daughter he never had, and her mother, Grace, reminded him of what compassion truly meant. One evening, after dinner, Lila fell asleep on the couch. Grace looked at Ethan, tears welling in her eyes. I don't know why you've done all this, she whispered, but you changed everything for us. Ethan smiled faintly. No, Grace, you and your daughter changed me. He took a deep breath. I've spent my whole life building walls around my heart. But that night, when your little girl knocked on my window, she tore them all down with a single $50 bill. Grace covered her mouth, holding back a sob. He continued softly, you don't owe me anything. But if you'll let me, I'd like to be here. For both of you, not just today, but every day. Grace's eyes filled with tears as she nodded slowly. Lila stirred in her sleep and murmured, Daddy, before curling closer into the blanket. Ethan smiled, tears in his eyes. For the first time in years, his heart felt whole. And so, the man who once had everything, but nothing that truly mattered, found love in the most unexpected place, in the heart of a little girl who only wanted a dad for one day. But she gave him something far greater, a family for a lifetime.